Rebecca of Studio Plum.
And I'm Sean of Renstead Interiors. We're interior designers
turned internet friends
turned real life friends.
Welcome to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
We're not that hot
or that young.
Every week, we'll be spilling the tea on how a new generation of interior designers can run their businesses.
Welcome to the club.
Hi, Sean.
What's up, Rebecca?
It's a lot going on in the neighborhoods, so there may be some ambient noise from real working designer life.
Renstead headquarters is currently under construction.
And I'm also recording at happy hour, and we have a member here, and there's some tile sampling happening and some lawnmowers happening. So it's, I don't know. I feel like that makes us more authentic.
It's like the sounds of the wild, like white noise for designers. We go to sleep. White noise is framing, drywall, electrical work,
tile click clacks. I do kind of like it. So okay. This episode, I feel like we've been like formulating it for a long time, and I think it's going to be good.
I mean, we've messed with our own models on this for a while. We've talked about it. We're still not the experts, but I think we keep getting questions from hotties. And there's like these common threads that keep coming out. And I'm like, oh, maybe we haven't talked about this. Or like as explicitly.
Like just focusing on this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, this has been like very much, you've always been pretty good about this, but this has all been very much my focus the last couple months because I have not been doing well at making money. I'm going to be honest. Yeah. I've been doing great at getting clients. I've been doing good at working a lot, but I have not been great at making money. Just ask my husband. Actually, don't, because
it's a hot issue.
Yeah. I've been telling him I've basically been in college for 4 years, and he should be glad that I didn't actually pay tuition.
No. Okay, but I don't know if you heard this hot take. I meant to share this with you separately, but did you listen to Emily Henderson's interview on Business of Home podcast?
Not yet, but
it's like fresh out, and she's talking about these points in her own business where she realized like, oh my God, I have 12 people, but like no money. And like literally she said checks were bouncing. And I'm like, Emily Henderson? Like, I'm so glad she talked about it. I like go listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, I will definitely listen to it because I think there's not a lot of transparency. And I don't know if it's culturally American or what, where everyone wants to look like a baller and no one really knows what's happening behind closed doors or bank accounts. But it's like making money has been kind of a taboo. It seemed like a rude thing to talk about. And we all have our different money mindset issues that all stem from different places. And I don't know, I'm just over it. And I've been putting some really hard lines in the sand with my new projects. And I am still in the beginning stages of it. So I think what I love about us,
I love
this for us. I want our listeners, you hotties, to know that we are in this with you. So this is like a podcast from the trenches. We're not on some mountain high trying to tell you everything and how to do it, because we're working designers still figuring it out. And we've learned some things. So that's definitely what we want to be sharing with you, because we do think there's some things that have worked, but I don't know, we're lucky because we have each other, our pod of 3, we are 3 different businesses sharing different experiences, constantly iterating and evolving. And I don't know. And we want to help each other.
And being like devil's advocate for one another of like, I'm hearing you say that, and I hear you saying you like it, but I'm just saying you might not like it forever, or you
Like
might
when you told me this morning, you think I'm gaslighting myself. I haven't responded to that yet, but well, if you can't gaslight yourself, who can you gaslight?
you need you need somebody to tell you, like it's like that friend who would always speak up when you've like, should I get back together with that boyfriend? And everyone's like, no, girl, no. And you're like, but he loves me. And then your friends are like, no, no, like they're ringing the alarm, and they're like, please stop.
And there's always like the one friend that actually is, you actually take their advice because you somehow respect it more than other people.
Yes. And then you're like, okay, fine. And then you were like, oh, God damn it. They were right the whole time.
Yeah. Or the same with like a book or movie review on a lighter level. Like there's certain people that I will not take a recommendation, like my dad. Sorry, Dad, but if you like a movie, it does not mean
not
anything. Well, maybe it is, but it really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But there's some people that, oh, they loved it. Okay, I'm going to love it. I know it. It's tried and true. So,
sure.
Okay, so
we are the Rotten Tomatoes for designers.
I don't watch anything under 85%, and I don't read anything under 3.85 on Goodreads. So
there you go.
There you go. Let's aggregate some ideas here. So we've broken this out into like two areas. These are not the only ways designers make money, but these are like the big hits.
Yeah. Like most designers are making money from design fees and product, like selling goods.
Yes.
That's like primarily sure. Some people are also coaches, or they have a class, or they have this, but like
affiliate sales.
Yeah. But like most, the two like big groups are, you have design fees and you have products that you're selling.
And we both believe that mix is how you make the most money and feel the best about your work and life. Some people only sell design fees. I don't know. We'll talk about more of that model later, but and if you only sell product, then you probably own a store, but
yeah,
I don't know how that would work.
I feel like if you're doing only one, like the design, if you're not making money by selling product and you're just like, oh, I just go through all at cost, your fees have to be really substantial to cover that. And then vice versa. If you're only selling product and then the design is relatively like free or very low price, then you must be making a lot of money off product. And because how are you?
You're West Elm, like, right? Like they have.
Yeah, like they can offer free design at West Elm because they are selling hundreds of millions of dollars worth of goods.
But those also aren't necessarily designers. Some have. They're not like probably.
Some have.
Designers. Some maybe are.
Like some might be, and then they do that as like a solid gig, But like, I just don't. I can't see a way through before I was selling product when I was really just doing design and then retail everything. Like I wasn't making any money. All of that was the client was getting the best pricing on product, but like I wasn't making a whole lot of money.
And okay, let's start with product. And this was really inspired by a few different hotties writing in. And, like we're always trolling these Facebook groups, getting fodder for the pod.
Pod
fod. And it seems like, and just from my experience chatting with designer friends, there are a lot of people that don't sell product. And I do get, if you're like doing a lot of construction work and you don't get to that stage with clients, I understand. And it might work.
We're not knocking it.
No. And that's just like, God bless you. Cause I can't just do construction only because I'm just not great at a lot of that stuff. But I do think even them, and I'm encouraging like our happy hour members too, there are ways they can be adding value to their clients and income streams through selling stuff
Mhm.
and getting a better project outcome by being involved.
By selling it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so first things first, you got to build your vendor list. This is probably the most important thing, but also is it needs constant adjustment and tuning, right? Especially now, like there's
Mhm.
vendors that just don't even exist anymore, or they haven't
Or
had something
they
in
haven't been
stock for 2
great.
years.
Yeah, like they haven't been great dealing with shortages and shipping and whatever. And more horror stories are coming out about different vendors all the time. And you're just like, oh, well, I won't be ordering from them, even though I like some of the stuff they're doing. If I'm hearing all these horror stories, I'm not going to even risk it with my clients.
And that's where it's very helpful. I know we say this all the time, but it's very helpful to have designer friends in the industry and or Facebook community groups that can I'm just always kind of taking in information and just like, ooh, red flag on that one. Let me get more info.
I mean, think about it like a doctor. Like if you were a doctor, you don't just like get your license to practice medicine, start practicing, and then never listen to what's happening in your industry or your trade or your profession for 34 years. Like you're constantly getting a new journal, getting an article, hearing from another doctor. And they're like, did you hear about like designers
new
have to be the same
research,
way?
new
Like,
drug trials. Yeah.
yeah. Otherwise we'd still be, treating people with freaking leeches. Like designers, we have to keep changing and learning every time we go through stuff.
Real life coming at you. Yes. So build your vendor list. So I guess what the main thing with that is, this is something that I struggled with a little bit, especially in the beginning, is really consolidating who I purchase from. If you follow here for a while, you know I'm an Enneagram 7. I like my options. I don't want to be like bottled into any kind of small group of vendors, but we have done this where we have picked like one, well, we have multiple, but one rug vendor, one lighting vendor, one case good vendor, now window treatments. And
Right.
we're trying to really focus on keeping those numbers up for them. And then, of course, I still buy through other places, but I always try my top vendors first.
Yeah, like let me look and see if my big hitters already have it, because I'm going to get the best possible price off of retail pricing through them if I keep doing it.
Yes. So you keep your rep happy, you keep your numbers down, I guess. Your percentages, your costs down. And it also really streamlines your process. So now I kind of know, like, there's 5 vendors that I kind of know everything that they've got going on. So I'm familiar when they drop a new line or collection. I know what their summer stuff looks like. Like I am just focusing on a few things instead of trying to keep up with a million things. And I think it helps me be faster when I'm sourcing.
I mean, the efficiency in sourcing time is also a way we keep our money in our pocket. Is don't just keep spending 8 hours looking for a piece when you know you could get it from your heavy hitters in an hour.
It's fine. Sean's trying to mute out the drill from his office right now, so it's okay. Totally. So I always check so I have I consider them key accounts that I source from first. If I can't find it there, then I'll go down and start looking to other places. But I don't source from retail unless, really, very rarely, if ever.
It's like styling stuff or like finishing things that you're just like, God dang, I could not find that one lamp, and CB2 happened to has one that will work, or West Elm has the little trays or some accessories.
Definitely accessories, because a lot of wholesale accessory companies, you have to buy multiples. And it takes time, and I usually wait till the last minute for those things. But Yeah, the only time I really do is if I'm so irritated at a project and I'm ready for it to be done, and I just like let the client, like, okay, if you're going to be this picky about this one thing and you saw something at CB2 that you like, just go buy it.
Just please go get it.
But I'm not buying it for you. I'm not doing all that. I'm not sharing my 10% discount for
that
the headache of it
that
all.
trade pricing is supposed to be for us. It's not supposed to be for us to pass on to clients. And so that is a discussion that we see in other design groups and stuff, is like, oh, CB2 said that they could give my discount to the client. And it's like, well, that's your money. You're not supposed to just give the discount to someone. That's supposed to be so you can make some form of a profit, but 15%, 20%, that's not really profitable.
Okay, yes. So 15% discount that you get from a retailer. Any Joe Schmo, you might not have known this, but you can actually go into West Elm and negotiate pricing. So, okay, maybe not West Elm specifically, but a lot of retailers, their managers at the store have some wiggle room and might negotiate up to 15% for you. So that's like a wash, like that's nothing, and your client can just go do that directly.
Mhm.
And if you did try to charge them full MSRP and make the 15% money, is that really worth the administration of typing out the proposal, getting their money, going to the bank, ordering the thing, waiting for it to come in, opening the box, checking for damages? Like all the things I just described are ours.
Everything you just said is agony for me to make.
And
nothing.
that was like an item that didn't get smashed or come in wrong or whatever.
Yeah, let alone a damage claim or the time to drive it back and forth to a store to send it back.
And you don't have a rep, and you're on 1-800 customer no service, and you're waiting
4 hours to get in touch with a restoration hardware person.
Yeah. So you just made
$25,
$100 maybe, and that did not just cover all the things. So don't even like my opinion, don't bother, because you're losing money if you do that.
Or even just their time is money. Like,
that's what I mean.
You want your life back? Like, my personal life and my well-being is worth way more than $25 markup on $100 thing, or like $15 on a $100 lamp. Like, $15, that's minimum wage in California.
Like, I don't want to enter that into a proposal for $15. Like, literally,
and pay taxes on it.
I spend more of that on a sandwich getting DoorDash to me. So
I did just spend that on my lunch today.
It's $19. Yeah. So come on, like, just don't even. And
like,
the customer service is not great.
Like a supermodel. Like, you remember how some of the supermodels was like, I don't get out of bed for less than $15,000 or whatever it was.
That was so much money. And now I'm like, actually.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Why? I don't sell retail unless I'm making thousands of dollars off of it. Like, oh, I'm never going to make it. You're going to have to buy a Restoration Hardware cloud sofa. Ew.
It just doesn't make sense. Like, just have them buy it themselves. I'm just saying, I'm giving you permission to let your clients buy retail, but I don't think it makes sense for you to process that order.
I think we've like, if the hotties are listening and they're still like, but I'm going to be like, okay, well, you do it, but just don't talk to us about it. Like, don't talk to us about your crazy ex-boyfriend when you get back together with him anymore. Cause like, we don't want to help you we don't want to tell you need to break up with him anymore.
Okay. And I think we should just like back it up a little bit and just say, if you haven't done this, you have not sold wholesale furniture and you're scared, that's okay, but still figure out how to do it. And we're going to still talk about it and help you, but it's not that hard once you get it. I remember being really overwhelmed and like, what the fuck? People are going to pay freight and then extra for receiving and extra for installation. That makes no sense. How am I ever going to explain that? Because as a previous consumer, it didn't make sense to me either. But over time, I realized, no, I'm a luxury service. This is a different level of experience. And it all kind of comes out in the wash as balanced. It's just their time versus money.
Yeah, they're paying us for that expertise time and doing that for them.
And it only makes sense if you are doing large orders of wholesale furnishing to have it go to a receiver. This is going to be a different conversation, but you cannot have that shit coming into your house. You can't really have it come to your client's house either.
No.
It's and I'm still making mistakes. This is still happening to me in certain situations, and I'm not going to do those certain situations anymore. But it's a lot of stuff. So if you haven't done it before, like I have a mirror that I just ordered for a client. It's like a going over the fireplace mantle mirror. The box it came in, so I had it sent to my office, which I have a warehouse in, so this is still okay. The box it came in is like an 8x10 foot box.
Oh my God.
It's huge.
I mean, it's supremely packaged for being on a truck, basically.
So now it's like, if you were to send that to your house, like if you live with somebody, they're going to be really pissed at you. They're going to hate you. You're going to have to take like 4 different recycling cycles to get that out of your life. Like,
yes.
Okay. So,
but like traditional retailers are already doing what we're doing. Like Crate and Barrel, Target, they're already buying goods from wholesalers at wholesale prices and then selling it at retail prices to make money. And you are literally trying to do the same thing as a designer.
I know. I think
you are a retailer.
When I kind of started realizing like I am Target.
You're a store.
That made more sense. So if I take Target and their warehouse and their red-shirted employees out of the picture, I keep that profit.
Yep.
And find the way to manage the deliveries, the freight. And I think most people, from what I can understand, is it's mostly being nervous on how to sell that value.
Yeah. And I think part of it is
a mindset.
This is a luxury service. This is the service we offer. Like our clients want us to do this because they want better than retail. Like they want special things. They want unique things. They don't want the thing that everybody has.
Yeah, take price out of it, take cost out of it, and just make it be. Because you always hear of things like, ooh, designer, like this is a designer level thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's got to be different than what you just go down to Home Goods and buy.
Yes. You're not going to find the same hardware in the Home Depot cabinet hardware section that you're going to find in your showroom and in my showroom.
Although you might find the same rugs at Home Goods that you might find, but we won't talk about that.
But it's a big deal because once you're buying all of these, it's really setting yourself apart from like, well, you can go buy that at West Elm, but like I have reasons why I don't want the West Elm quality or the West Elm finish or the West Elm headache. And so I don't sell that to my clients because I'm not West Elm. Like
mostly you don't want it for the recognition. Like I literally can recognize all the West Elm lamps that everyone has in their house. I still have one in my house that is driving me up a wall because it's been
everyone has it. It's ubiquitous now.
Yeah. So why would you sell them this thing that they can get from the mom's group and all their friends have it? It just, what was the point of them hiring you? So
yeah,
think like that. Okay, and so people are scared to open the accounts. Guess what? It's the easiest thing in the world. I probably have 100 accounts open. I don't have terms. I don't like have any credit or like I'm not, I don't owe anybody anything. I pay everything up front and I will probably always do that.
Versus carrying terms where you're like 50% due after this time or this time. Like until you had a volume shop environment where you're like ordering millions in merchandise, I don't think that makes sense.
Right. If you had a store that does, I could see where that would make sense. But yeah, most of
Like
us aren't there.
we both collect 100% payment from our clients on their goods before we place the orders.
You guys, I was just
Cannot.
I was just on a thread, and other designers were giving advice around this, and they were saying, oh, definitely charge 60% up front and then get the balance when it comes in. No.
Ew.
I mean, I don't know any furniture vendors that don't charge immediately upon shipment. 100%.
Right. Yeah, like if it's going to ship, they're charging your card, and we just operate slightly differently. It's like if we're going to order it, you're paying us.
Well, because I don't know when that shit's going to ship. So that money better be in my account ready to draw when the company draws it, because I gave them my credit card. So
right, we're on the hook as soon as they decide to put it on a carrier.
And it could be anytime between now and never.
Next year.
But yeah, so I mean, our upholstery vendor actually charges 100% on order. So, and we're not seeing that upholstery for 20 weeks, but they charge up front. So
yeah, why would anybody I think we've talked about this before. They either have it or they don't. Like,
yeah,
your client is they either need to pay it or they don't want it. There is no like, oh, I'm going to hold it back. Because I think the part that makes me feel gross about that is the idea of like, well, if it comes here and I don't like it, I just won't pay the rest. And it's like, no. Like, this is sold already. This is 100% yours. You already 100% paid for it. You own this now. And if even in my contract, it says like, if we terminate the contract, you're still getting all your stuff. There's no returns. There's no refunds. Like whatever was already ordered, if we have to end the contract, you're still getting all of that. Like we're going to finish that part of our
because
deal.
they paid for it. I'm upfront. Yeah. There's no like lingering balance due. We'll talk later about design fees and how that can be broken up, and maybe that's over time, but maybe
that's in pieces. Yeah.
But that's different than product, because like, yeah, the vendors don't take returns. I had recently one instance where we ordered lamps from a large, good vendor, and I thought they were like peacock blue. We even saw them in High Point and they were peacock blue, and the client received them and they're like Tiffany Robin's egg blue. Not the same. I even asked my husband, who cannot, blue is blue, and he's like, oh yeah, those aren't the same.
He sees in 3 colors.
Yeah. And so I requested that we get a return, and they said no, we think it's the same. And then I did another level, and we laid out like a full Claire, it was Claire's account, so she had a full Law and Order like
oh, I did not hear that story.
Oh, I know. We didn't tell you. I created like a slide deck, like what we thought we were getting, what we got, what I saw at market. Like,
yes,
come on, folks.
Like you had a picture of it at market.
Picture at market, a picture on their website, and then a picture of the actual. And then they finally said, okay, fine, we'll take it back.
Yes.
Don't do this again. I'm like, no, you don't do it again.
No, you don't do that.
They said it was a handmade item.
No, 100% not. I know what vendor you're talking about. 100% no. That's a quality control issue. That was not just artisanal variation.
Exactly what they were trying to say. And I'm bummed because like part of me was like, ooh, do we risk it? Because this is the lamp that we want in there.
Right.
But no, they would never have like done it again. So anyway.
Correct.
There are some things like that. And that's where you become the designer that's fighting for your client. And that felt like, you know, worth it for them to buy that. Because if that happened to them, they would have been screwed if they had bought direct.
Totally. But that's also the reason why we have to mark up
Mhm.
product, because what if the vendor hadn't stood behind that? You're not going to argue with your client and say, well, you already bought it and I know you hate it and it doesn't look right, and then they're fighting with you over that lamp. You're just going to say, okay, I want to make this right. I'm going to refund you. Like, if the vendor hadn't done it, sometimes you're just like, I don't need to be right here. I need to make sure my client's happy. So I'm going to refund this. I'm going to take the lamps back from you. I'm going to refund you the value. And your markup revenue that you make on all your projects is what helps give you the flexibility to do that when it's the right thing to do.
Totally. Because yeah, they were just lamps, but they're $600 lamps. If you're a regular person, you're like, what am I just have $600 lamps in my garage? Or be pissy about them every time I look at them. So yeah, I was really hoping that I wouldn't get to that level or that decision, but the company made good. So
Yeah, markup revenue is just one of those things, like, you don't spend it all either. You keep it, because some of that money is gonna need, like, money that you made 6 months ago off of markup could be helping to pay for that problem.
yeah, I always think like some projects I make a lot of more money on than others. Like some have to
Yeah.
cover the next guy.
Almost like when they sell cars, like, well, maybe not in this current market, but like in the past, remember, like, some dealers were like selling it and they're giving such a discount because someone's haggling with them and they're like, look, man, I'm only making $1,000 selling this to you today. And then sometimes they sell a car and people come in and they're just a fool and they don't haggle, and then they just pay
Yeah.
exact MSRP. And the dealer's like, heck yes, I made $7,000 on that car right now. And designers are going to be the same way. It's like,
You have to
some
look at it
projects,
over time.
you get
yeah.
all of it. Yeah. And that's why we say this isn't like a per project. This is like, it's got to be part of the whole business model, that this is how you make money, because it's not going to just be project to progress where you really see the value of earning money this way.
Yeah. And if that you get that 15% markup, then it's okay, I made $5 on this one and lost 27 on this one. That's like, why are you doing that?
Yes.
Okay, and then just to answer a few other things of like, well, how do I start? Where do I start? There's a few things you can do. Like we've mentioned, get some friends, start, opening, I hate this term and I'm going to say it anyways, like opening the kimono, like be very vulnerable with your friends. Maybe they're in different cities and markets if that makes you feel better. And really share and what works, what doesn't, what you learned and what you've heard. Like I can't stress it enough how helpful it is. And through that, you'll learn about vendors. Maybe you guys can share accounts in certain aspects. It makes sense. For instance, like Four Hands is really clear with your like pricing tier of where you're at and what your trailing spending needs to be. And as a single designer, it's really hard to get into those upper tiers. But if you get a few of you sharing one account, then somebody has to be the owner. Like they don't want a bunch of designers asking about something on the same account, but it's still worth it. So like we've done it in the past where we use your account for this, my account for that. And so that way we're also sharing the responsibility of the admin.
Yeah, it's not just all one of us getting all the email communications or the order updates. We're all kind of doing it.
Because you have to like forward, like there's only one email on it. So you have to forward the updates and shipment notifications and things like that. But it's not that hard and it's so worth it. And or buying groups are kind of the same thing. There's more formalized versions of what I was just saying. And there's some really great ones out there that they do all the admin. They have really, really great pricing. So some of their accounts you would never get as low as what you're paying them, and they're still making money.
Yes, because they have the best tiers on pricing.
Yeah. So like there's some that like the buying group I buy for visual comfort through right now, I still make 40%. Goals are to have my own. So We'll see.
Yeah. Well, of course, like you would want that pricing model for yourself and not have to share it with everybody else.
But if they're giving me 40, they're still getting 15 or 20 just for the admin of it. So, they're like selling some volume.
Yeah. The other way that we make this like super profitable though is you have to set minimums per project
With the client.
Like it's got to be, oh, you're doing 4 rooms. 4 rooms is a minimum of this amount of money based on the project we're talking about. Like
product expenditures, not this doesn't count for your drywall or your countertops or your cabinets, because I don't sell that stuff.
I sell lighting, I sell soft goods,
I sell furniture,
accessories.
You list what you make money off of, because those are the things that need to go towards that minimum expenditure. Maybe you make money off countertops, so that could be your thing, but
if that's what your business does. But it's got to be in the contract. Like if you're signing this with me, minimum you're spending this much with me, like this is what it is. This is what creates a profitable project for me, the designer, to stay engaged in your project and interested and sustainable, because don't you want me to stay in business so I can continue to warranty these things and be here for my clients? Like,
so
unless I do this, I don't have that.
I will admit that I just started this. I just implemented it. I now have 3 proposals under my belt. 1 is going, 1 is going to sign, and then the 3rd I'm waiting to hear. So it's so scary, you guys. So
I think we talked about this on the pod, like early episodes when I said I was going to do it. And you were like, I don't know, I think it's going to scare some people off. And then like, here I am with like all the projects I have now, except 2 that I had before I did that. All of them have minimum purchase agreements and nobody questioned that.
And I think the difference is, from what I was doing before, is I was having minimum purchase expectations.
Yeah, versus internally. A requirement.
Well, also never communicated to anyone but me. Yeah. And then I had product resentments that
because then clients whittle away at your number.
Yeah, or they like, what about this? Or we'll do this, or and then you're just like now we're back to the camel by committee thing, or horse by committee.
Horse by committee.
So after you started doing it and I started reading about it more from other designers, and I really made it super duper clear in my proposal, and it's my design fee is this much. We'll talk about that next. And then my minimum expenditure is this much, and this is what it includes or could include. And it's a big ass number most of the time, and it's probably really it's not that big compared to what designers
actually do.
Well, or know what a big designer would put in there.
Oh yeah, for other designers, I'm sure they're putting in hundreds of. I know of other designers here in Greater LA who are putting in $500,000 on furnishings and accessories and all of that. $250,000 minimums. Like as you keep getting bigger and bigger, you're gonna draw a line and say, if I've got all these other projects making that much, why would I want to take on another project where they're only going to spend $15,000? Like, why?
Also, you're building a team to sustain the bigger number. So,
right.
Okay.
So when you take on a project, you want it to be like, oh, this makes sense financially for us to sustain this project for 1.5 years or 2 years or whatever it's going to be to finish it all.
Yes. And if you go back, so if your vendors are set up so that you're making 35% is like kind of the minimum of what you should be making, right? Like average, then you can kind of calculate what you're going to make, and it helps set you up for the future of, okay, well, I know what my design fee is pretty much, and I know what my product minimum is going to be. So this project is going to take me through X many months. So how do we figure out what to ask for?
It's in our budget calculator. That's on our Patreon.
Look at us selling, you guys. I'm sorry, but I've been doing this the last week. I've had 2 proposals go out and I've been using it. It's like, I'm here to tell you it works.
It's just easier to say, oh, okay, we're here. We're talking about your master bedroom, your dining room, and your living room. You take a look at this budget guide, fill it out. You can see the rooms that you're selecting are this amount. That's the amount I'm putting in your purchasing agreement. Like, there's a direct correlation and clients can see where these come together.
So a real life conversation I had with one of those lead clients today. I gave her, and I'll tell you, I gave her a $25,000 purchasing minimum, which isn't really that much, but there's a lot of construction more in her project.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't even share it with her before I gave her the proposal. I just went through and did an internal click, what I thought it would come up to, what I thought she should buy for this project.
Right.
And it came up to, let's say, 40 grand. But I knew that number would scare her, and I wasn't completely sure if she would commit to that much in furniture. So I brought it down to 25, knowing she probably should end up spending 40. But and this is the conversation I had with her today, is that gives us some wiggle room where we're fully on the same page. So, because she's like, well, what if I want to shop vintage? Like, well, that's perfect. Now that I know that I am expecting the 25, I can give you homework because there's like room in there. There's like 15 to 20,000 of need. And so I can let you go shop. And not feel resentful.
And I'm still not going to be angry because we'll hit the minimum and I'll have a set amount of markup revenue minimum that I can predict coming into my business when we place your orders.
And I was really clear about that with her, and she was really appreciative. And she's like, that makes total sense. And she even said, like, and I do like to shop and do all this stuff, but I'm pregnant. And the reason why I want to hire a designer is so that I don't spend all my time doing that because I don't have it. Like, yep. You answered your own question.
And you said, what was the minimum? 20,000?
25.
Yeah. So like what you're saying is when you're saying 25,000, like 30% of that's $7,500. Like it's not that easy of a calculation all the time, but like,
and I hope it's more. And so my game for myself is like, I'm pretty much, I know I'll make at least 75, but if I can get deeper discounts and go with my best accounts, I'll make more.
Over 10.
Yeah.
It wouldn't take much to push that over 10. And
if I do a good job selling stuff and upselling stuff in ways that benefit her, she's going to spend more. And so just the way I used that calculator, I did it internally. I had my conversation with her. And I'm like, and I explained what I did. Like, I'll actually share that with you. So I'll share you my version, and then I'll share a link for you to make your own, and you can kind of see.
Right.
So sign up on patreon.com/HYDC.
We're selling the guide. You can get the guide and do that. Mine is similar. I've been using that guide. Like, I developed it so I can explicitly use that with clients. So now I've kind of added a step for clients now, the way I'm currently using it, where if I go out to a consult, I have them fill that out before I write their proposal, because I want the number from them. I want them to just go, here's that range where we think we're going to land for that dining room or living room or both or whatever it might be, because I don't want to start off on the wrong foot when we start developing concepts, when it was like, where are we starting from? If they, or even
before you spend the time writing a proposal, probably.
And I have one right now that's outstanding where I went on the consult. They haven't done that part of their homework yet. And I feel such a sense of relief of, I'm not writing a proposal for you if you won't even do the homework right now. Like, if you won't tell me a budget number, how am I supposed to finalize a proposal on a contract? Like, and that's okay. Some people will self-select out. That's why it's there. I don't want to pretend we're going to be spending $45,000 and they're thinking we're spending $15,000. Like,
exactly.
That's not, no one wins in that equation. Not me, not my business, not them. Like, there's no real answer to that equation. It's an imaginary number. Like,
and I think it's so important for people, especially who have just kind of not bought anything in a while, to realize
Mhm.
what things actually cost. And if they want to take the time to cross-reference that with Restoration Hardware, whatever their go-tos might be, they'll quickly see that we're pretty reasonable with what we've put in there.
Correct.
People need to like come up to terms with what we've talked about this before, what they think they want to pay and what actually things cost.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think it works either way. I've done it both ways where I've given them the calculator first. I think that works best when people just won't give you a number.
Yeah.
In the case recently, the last 2 proposals I've written, they've given me their like big number for their whole renovation. And
Mm-hmm.
I've felt comfortable knowing what they should be spending in accordance with that.
And I think there's got to be teeth behind it when people tell you that. And that's why I put it in the contract. Is like, at some point I need to be able to go back and say, hey, like, I get you want to try to save money, but we're contractually obligated for this. Like, you've made these commitments. So what are you going to cut from the rest of your project? Because this is what we're doing. It's not like as your contractor keeps sending change orders and the contractor's making more money, like, I'm not going to lose my money just because you're paying for more upgrades somewhere else. Like, it's not robbing from Peter to pay Paul here. Like, Peter, it wants to get paid. I'm Peter.
Peter needs to get paid, and
Peter Piper already picked you a patch of pickled peppers, and you got to pay for those pickled peppers. Okay, Piper.
Like, you're just gonna not have to have flooring in your kitchen because I need to sell you these table lamps. Well, I'm just kidding. But
if somebody has 50,000, I'm gonna pull a Inea White right now. If a client has 50 grand, they have access or can get to 100 grand. I don't want to hear excuses from people anymore. If they had 150, they got 200. If someone can qualify for these levels of projects that they're doing, there is more. It's not about your $2,000 side chairs or your $3,000 dining table. They have it. There's a value thing. So, and don't be messing with our income stream.
And that's why I think it's really helpful to put that in the contract in the beginning. Like right now, those construction projects have not started. They have not started hemorrhaging cash.
Yes.
So they know, like,
so
oh shit, I gotta keep that aside for Studio
I got
Plum.
another 60 grand that I'm gonna spend here. Like,
so when they're making decisions whether they want to upgrade to whatever marble fireplace, then they've got to realize that they
already made. Yeah, your contractor would be the same. You already made an obligation. I already demoed the bathroom. It already started. Similarly with you, you're like, oh, we already did the living room. Like, we already started. It's too late. Like,
yeah, you might as well just give me that money now. And
I mean, I guess that's the next spend it.
I guess that's the next level, right? Like, get that minimum expenditure on retainer.
I mean, as soon as possible before the house starts going crazy, but dreams,
I mean,
right
yeah,
there.
I'm not there yet.
But aside from product, the opposite side of that is the design fee itself. Like, yes, what we get paid to create the design work. And you've already started making the leap into flat rate. I'm still hourly and like getting close to moving towards like going from hourly to flat rate.
Yeah. So again, my new world order here. I personally am not in love with tracking every second of my creative time. I have hangups around it. I'm not recommending that you have the same hangups, but I know that I like freedom around creativity. It's like a value of mine. And I was really struggling with this hourly transaction but I want to like touch and feel and ruminate and explore.
Sit on Pinterest for a little longer.
I want to do it at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night and not feel like I have to go log that shit in somewhere. So that's me. And so I moved to this flat fee for design only. So that doesn't include project management of construction. It doesn't include, sometimes it includes procurement. I'm clarifying that a little bit. It doesn't include trips to the Bay Area because I don't know how many I'm going to need to take for this project that I'm going to take.
Fair.
So, but I do know how much time I can allot to my design and also give it a little bit more value because like in graphic design, there's always these arguments around why would you charge hourly at something that you're really good at? Because if you take 1 hour to design the logo, the client signs off on, you still should be able to sell that for 10 grand.
Yeah.
But that's not your hourly rate. So the value of the design expertise is different than the actual time your body took to make it.
Yeah. And I think some of this is that in the time it's not just the time it took us to realize this, it's also the time it took us to build the expertise in our businesses where there is now a point where we have increased efficiency in creating a better design. And so why should a client get the discount for that? And so now you're at this point where like what you earn off of those design hours actually starts getting smaller
because they're so fast.
But it should not be like me bringing on my design assistant to make me more efficient should not mean that I get less money. In fact, it means I need more because I'm investing more in a project when I do it. So that's like, it's still track our time because you want to know when you're wasting it. Like, oh my God, we spent 100 hours and we thought it would be 60. Holy moly. Like we actually lost money on that project then if we really calculate out based on hourly payment.
Yes. And I guess what's different is you can control how much you're spinning your wheels for the most part on design. So again, like I want the opportunity to spin my wheels and know that I can do that and it's not gonna, I don't know, bother anybody.
Yeah.
But also, track it, get better, get your ideas out faster, and don't just like, my therapist calls it N'ing around because it's like N for INTP, that's intuitive. So she's like, you're just N'ing around when you're doing that. So watch it, but I don't know.
Enjoy the creativity and the freedom it allows you to.
Exactly. And knowing what you're gonna, you know what money you're gonna make at the minimum. So like my design fees are flat and then it goes hourly for project management. So because I don't know how much the contractor is going to need me. I don't know what kind of team the contractor is going to have. I don't know how many site visits I'm going to take. I don't know if there's going to be some sort of problem that I'm going to have to solve. I don't know if they're going to fire me after I do the design. So, I mean,
at least you'll get paid.
And I'm done. Like I'm happy with where we landed and I'm not going to get fired, but like they may not need me that much for project management, which is perfectly fine for me.
And I like doing the project. I should say I do like it.
You do like it.
But I wish that it, like you're saying, I do it hourly. And I think especially because I have some contractors who make my life so damn easy that I didn't make a lot of money off of PM for that project. And I'm like, damn, I should have charged more for the design then. But the reality is I should be charging more for the design on all projects. And then I'm not heartbroken when PM is smaller or I have, 30% less hours because it's a really great builder. Like that's no problem then because I don't feel like I lost out on revenue. Like I should hope that my clients have efficient projects. I should want them to have a smooth job site. and not
Yeah,
be like, well,
because
damn, now I'm losing money because they have a good contractor.
and that
Like,
project management is apples to apples, time to dollar, because you're only charging for when you're actually working. So
right.
if you aren't needed, then you're doing something else and you're making money doing that,
Correct.
like your next project with your design intention. So I've been doing it. So flat rate design fee, I've been playing. The other little toggle I've been playing with is my just my deposits and when I get that fee. The first one I did was I asked for 100% upfront of my flat design fee. And she's like, okay, boom, paid it.
I love that.
Oh my God, it was so nice. And yeah, it's been so nice. But but that's not a lot of construction. The next couple of projects are going to be a lot longer,
Yeah.
and bigger numbers. And so you had to coach me through sending one yesterday, and it was a bigger number, and I felt weird asking for it all up front. And so it was felt more of like a, I guess, balance with them of, okay, I'm not going to ask you for $50,000 cash up front and you're going to be working with me for a year.
Yeah.
So let's do the deposit. Then when we're about to go into the concept, the next thing's done. And then when my design concept is complete, then the balance is due. And by then we'll have trust and still be in it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we're already so far in at this point. There's no going back. There's no doubt that, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not a baller like that where I can ask someone, hey, can you just like float me 50 grand? I promise I'll be here tomorrow. Like that's a lot for a lot of people. And so giving up that money just does not line up with.
No, it's a lot.
We're not working with ballers like that yet.
And it also kind of felt like a lot of responsibility for me to manage that much money of my own in my business for as long as I might need it to last.
Yeah, you're going to have to retain it and make sure that it's like used properly.
Right.
So if you don't have a cash flow system set up and a cash management strategy set up, like that money could disappear and then you owe it to everybody if something happens. So don't do that. And I think like for me, that's why hourly is still kind of reassuring, is because I'm calculating it based off of estimates that I have now worked on year over year. Every time I do a project, I can look up, because Ivy does let me do this, I can track what room I'm working in my Ivy proposals. So when I put design time in, I can say which room it was for. And then when I get to the end of a project, I can tell you what room, how much design time was spent in each room and for what, whether it was design or project management or vice versa. So for me, every project I get better and better, and I can figure out, oh, this client's kind of describing this type of kitchen in our consultation. And okay, this sounds like mostly straightforward, not a lot of crazy built-ins, not a lot of custom stuff. I could make this work. And I think it'll be about this many hours. Is it exact? Oh, hell no. Like no one has ever been exact. Where most people are exact is I usually kind of know about what I'll spend up through concept on certain rooms.
Flat
and
fee.
That's always what?
And that's where I do flat fee.
Yeah. And so like once I know, oh, that's pretty accurate, then flat fee makes sense, because now I'm like, wait, I said it would be this many hours and I was only off by like 3 or 4 hours. Well, then that's time to move to flat fee, because what I'm estimating is getting so accurate that I'm right there. And when you do flat fee, you just do that and then add some more. Add something so you don't lose out on the deal. Don't make it like, oh, my flat fee for this bedroom would have been, if I did it hourly, it would be $3,000. And so I'm just going to do flat fee $3,000. It's like, no, give yourself a little bit of room on that. Like, don't come in right at the number every time.
Okay, well, I I'm still testing this out, so I don't totally know if this is the best, but I do think one of the biggest value for flat fee is we all know what money we're making and the client
Mhm.
knows what money they're paying. So that is like equitable. But also it's a value to me that I have that money in hand
Yes.
and
You can make payroll with it. You can cover overhead expenses with it.
There's less, and then there's less transactions. So yes, still track your hours internally, but I'm not billing the client. I'm not waiting for it to get paid. I'm not cashing the check, however you do it.
And the pain of them having to write check after check and being like, but wait, our house isn't even being remodeled yet. And we've wrote like 4 checks.
Or we're going through something really annoying with the contractor. And now that annoyance is bleeding out on you and we're just tired of paying money. So I just think, so the way I've been doing it on these bigger jobs is I've been going room by room and setting a range of what I think the hours will be. I'm doing not what you said. I'm actually like erring towards the middle of that range. Yeah. Because there's value to me in getting that money ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's going to be,
but this is also your experiment phase.
Yeah,
you're
for sure.
Just in the beginning of it. So you're going to like, if you go at the end and you're like, holy moly, that was a lot of hours, then you can just go, okay, next time I might aim a little higher when I send my next proposal.
For sure. Yep. But
I don't think any designer's only gonna make, I don't think anybody is out there making $100,000 a year off of just fee revenue only. And I mean, when I say 100, I mean like your take home pay after running your business and your overhead with design fee only. I just don't see that being a sustainable business model where you're not selling product, you're just doing design fees by themselves and you're not making money on any other category.
The only scenario that I've heard that might work with, and it's been very tempting at times, is that I've heard of a few designers that are just consultants, and it's almost like they're designer on call full time. So they don't do shit at their desk. Like there's no homework, and they just show up to go shopping or show up to go to their house and tell them what window treatments to pick out because the client already like got all their samples in. So the designer's not doing any legwork, and they're just doing the Miranda Priestly fantasy.
Like, come in, you should paint this room blue. You know, you should put this sofa.
Like maybe I'll keep a fan deck in my Hulkin bag, but I'm not bringing like.
And then
that designer doesn't even own a computer.
Your overhead's very low then because you're not having to pay $1,500 for an annual AutoCAD subscription.
No,
and you're not maintaining a material as expensive of a materials library. Like all of that then starts to become a lot easier to understand.
Your brain is like overhead. Your brain is where it is. Like there's no like emergency situation, and you're just like, yeah. And you probably have a higher rate.
Right. And some of that is going to depend on what a livable wage is going to be for you. One, as a person, like you're going to make that your own value-based decision. But two, what does that wage need look like in your community? Because it looks very different in Sacramento and Los Angeles than it does in Louisville, Kentucky. Like costs are up everywhere, but what type of lifestyle do you want to create for yourself is the other question that goes with it, because that's a whole other podcast episode.
But it goes hand in hand with also what level of headache do you want? Like that person doesn't have a lot of headache.
That consultant only model? No.
Yeah. And they have they probably know how many hours they work. So their billables are consistent every week. And I don't know. I feel like that's would be like my semi-retired lifestyle.
Like you'll only do in-home consults and.
Yeah. I have some sort of community cachet. Like people still kind of know my name, but I'm not dealing with.
Yeah. Like you should call Rebecca for a paint consult. Okay. Pay me my fee. I'll show up. I'll help you pick your paint colors.
I mean, I still kind of do that, but full time.
But yeah, like when you're not having to worry about all of the needs of these businesses anymore, like, yeah, that doesn't seem as challenging.
So I think that could work if you feel like you could fill your time. You'd have to be able to book yourself out.
I just feel like I want to make money in my sleep. We keep hearing that from other designers. Like
You are
want to
not
make
making
on
money in your
things.
sleep doing that. No, you
Yeah,
are
I just
definitely on the hook.
I want to get. I do want. I'm manifesting this.
Oh,
One day I would want a rug line. One day I would want a textile line or some accessories, or like I want to do that. I want that because you make money with your name on it.
I was just thinking about that recently because don't you see like a lot of the designer collections that you see, whether it's wallpaper or rugs or whatever? I'm not all of them by any means, but a lot of them aren't working designers, like they are product designers now.
Yeah.
Which does sound kind of nice too.
I mean, look, anybody call me, I'll talk about it. I mean, I want it to match what I like and my aesthetic and my style, but like, yeah, I want to eventually get to a place
They're
where
like, Sean, we want to put out a line of black and navy blue and white chevron rugs. Could you
we'd love to attach the Renstead name to this. We feel like it's a perfect fit. And they'd be like, oh, and also all the rugs are viscose. 100% viscose.
There's your empire right
there. But you know what? It's not for me, but there is some designer somewhere in the country who that is their jam and they're going to sell the heck out of those. It's not me.
No, it's not. It's gotta be the right fit.
This is like two of the main ways we make money. And I just think we have to focus on what is going to make you feel fulfilled and not resentful and excited about projects. And for me, a big part of that is, well, at least I made 10 grand on that stuff. Well, at least I made 5 grand by selling these things. Like, to me, that is reassuring of, well, at least I will be able to contribute towards my family's mortgage this month, and I will be able to pay for our $7 a gallon gas. Like,
and I think one thing we didn't really specify is do it in a way that makes sense to your values. And this is what I explained to the client today on the phone is I'm not just here trying to sell you crap. Like I'm just not willy-nilly like cash grabbing.
Like I could sell you anything, sure. Like, but like I'm not going to.
No, the things that I'm selling are things that I stand behind. Again, like we go to market, like we have trusted vendors. If they make a mistake, they'll fix it. Like this is all part of like they know they have vetted contacts through me, and I'm setting it up so that I feel good, even though I'm focused on my profit percentage when I'm sourcing. I've already done the legwork to know that anything is still going to be good. That makes sense?
Right.
Like I'm not just
exactly
finding cheap shit that I'm going to sell.
Yeah, this isn't, I'm not picking up the Threshold collection from Target and putting it in your house here. Like we're not talking about that.
Unless it's an accessory and whatever. They have some cute stuff. They have some good stuff. But no, I'm not marking that up and pretending that it's worth $2,000.
Precisely.
So we hope you guys, we really just want you all to put on your big girl pants or big boy pants.
Yeah.
And
on your pantalones, make some money.
Ask us questions. We're here for feedback and like specific questions. We'll try to tackle it in future episodes, or maybe we'll talk about it on our Patreon account. What do we call that? The post. What are the posts called? The board? Oh my God.
The message board?
It's turned into a grandpa.
Look, we're new to Patreon too, okay?
Yeah, we want to like get you over that fear factor. And once you're in it, I promise you, it starts to make more sense.
Yes.
Start small.
You don't have to feel bad about earning money. Like, oh, no, we should not feel bad about it. We should not feel apologetic to clients about, okay, I'm so sorry, but I have to make money on this. Like, no, that's a statement, not a question. Like, I am going to make money by running a business with this. Period.
Yep. because it's all a transaction. So
Definitely.
hey,
All right, y'all. So until next time,
stay hot, designers.
Thanks for joining this meeting of the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
If you liked what you heard, please subscribe and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Check out the show notes there for links to things we talked about today.
We are keeping the conversation going on Instagram, so don't forget to like, comment, and follow at Hot Young Designers Club.
You can find Rebecca on Instagram at Studio Plum.
And you can find Sean at Renstead Interiors. That's WRENSTED.
That was a swoosh.
that was
good.
girl, it is so hot. I realize the afternoon sun is cooking this side and the thermostat is out at the front where it's cold, and I'm like sweating from my ripple folds right here. Like